You know, there's a single mental shift that can totally change the entire path of your life. And it's not about willpower or just hustling harder. Nope. It's about where you decide to put your focus. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can escape that trap of always seeing what's wrong and start building a life that actually moves forward.
Do you ever feel like you're just spinning your wheels? You know, overthinking everything, complaining, kind of just waiting for things to magically fix themselves? This is what the source material calls the problem focus trap, and it's incredibly common. The more mental energy you pour into a problem, the bigger and more impossible it starts to feel.
And this is a core idea right here. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about where you direct your energy. Are you going to spend it describing the problem over and over, or are you going to invest it in actually finding the solution? That one choice, it changes everything.
Okay, so let's really break this trap down. When you fixate on a problem, you're not actually working towards a solution. You're just feeding it. You're giving it your energy, making it seem way larger and more complicated than it probably is. It's this vicious cycle that just drains your motivation and keeps you completely locked in place.
And you can really see the difference here, right? The problem focus trap is totally passive. You're blaming other people, you're complaining, you're just waiting around. But the solution mindset, that's active. You take ownership, you act on what you can actually control, and you create the change you want to see. One keeps you a victim of your circumstances, the other makes you the author of your own life.
And that brings us to the first and honestly the most crucial key to escaping this trap: taking 100% responsibility for your life. It's not about what's happened to you. It's about what you're going to do about it, starting right now. This is where your real power is.
And let's be crystal clear about what responsibility means here. It's not blame. It has nothing to do with whose fault it was. It's just accepting that from this moment forward, the response, well, that's up to you. It's your move.
As long as you're asking why me, you're stuck in a victim mindset. It's a question that just chains you to the past and forces your energy onto things you absolutely cannot change, which is, well, it's a surefire way to feel completely powerless. But the moment you switch to this question, the whole dynamic shifts. Immediately, it forces your brain out of that problem loop and straight into solution-finding mode. This is probably the single most powerful mental pivot you can possibly make.
And here's the thing, this is a choice you make every single day. People who succeed don't have fewer problems, they just make a different choice about what to do with them. They choose to use hardship as fuel, to create instead of just complain, and to consciously move forward instead of staying stuck.
So, if taking responsibility is the key, how do you actually turn the lock? Well, it all starts with training your inner world. Let's dive into the essential mental tools you're going to need to make this solution-focused mindset your new default setting.
So the source material lays out 3 core practices for mastering your mindset. First, you've got to learn to consciously direct your focus. Second, you need to act before fear takes over. And third, you have to learn to calm your emotions so you can make clear, intentional choices.
Think about your focus like it's your most valuable currency. Most of us, we just give it away for free, to distractions, to negativity, to worry. The key is to start treating it like a muscle. You have to deliberately train it to look for opportunities and find where progress can actually grow.
And this brings us to why action is so important. When you hesitate, when you wait until you feel ready, you're basically just giving fear room to grow. Your imagination takes over, and a small, totally manageable challenge suddenly inflates into this unbeatable monster in your head.
The antidote to fear is always action. Taking even one tiny step forward creates momentum, and that's real-world feedback. It proves to your brain that you are not helpless, and it's that momentum that starves fear of all its power.
This all builds on managing our inner world by showing the difference between reacting and responding. See, when a setback hits, an emotional reaction is automatic. It's chaotic. But if you can create just a little moment of space, you can choose to respond. And you can do it with intention, with clarity, and from a place of control.
So how do you create that crucial space? It's simple, by asking yourself this one question. It instantly interrupts that emotional hijack. It forces you to access a higher perspective, and it empowers you to choose a response that actually lines up with the person you're trying to become. Okay, so we've talked about the internal mindset. Now let's connect it to the real world. This is all about translating that inner strength into tangible habits that create real, measurable results. You know, one of the sneakiest ways we stay stuck is through circular thinking.
just ruminating on things. It feels like you're problem solving, but if your thoughts are only leading to more tension and not to a single step forward, you're not solving. You're just spinning your wheels.
So here are 4 simple, really powerful ways to break that loop. First, get the thought out of your head and onto paper. Second, force a shift by asking, what's one small action I can take right now? And you know what? Sometimes just changing your physical state by moving your body or even just your environment is enough to completely break that pattern.
If you only do one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. Today, just once, catch yourself the moment you start to complain. Stop right in the middle of the thought. Then channel that energy into one small, useful action instead. This simple exchange, complaint for action, is the foundational habit of all progress.
And look, it's so important to remember that this process can be slow, and that can be really discouraging. But please do not mistake slow progress for no progress. As long as you are taking steps, no matter how small they seem, you are winning. The only way to truly fail is to just stop.
This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? Your power isn't in wishing or hoping or complaining. It is found only in the small, responsible, and intentional actions you take today. The future isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you build, one choice at a time.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. Every choice, every action, every single decision to focus on a solution instead of a problem, that's a building block. Right now, in this very moment, you are constructing your future. The only question is, what will you choose to build next?